First, are you earning more than you are spending? So do you have a good income statement and balance sheet? And do you save well in the proper assets? Basic. Second, do you have internal conflict or harmony? Do you have something that creates productivity? So history has shown that if you educate your population well, education means income and also education in civility of how people behave with each other is very important, because the worst disruptive facts or circumstances is when they're at odds with each other and it becomes dysfunctional. So first, you have a good income statement and balance sheet? Second, do you have internal productive competition and harmony? And third, are you at risk of an international war? So as an investor, when I look around and say, where do I want to have my money nowadays? I look at those three things above all else. And of course, there are many indicators. When we deal with the developing world, there are many, many, many different circumstances, of course. What do you export? What do you import? All of those things. If you're exporting items that go up in value, commodities and so on, your circumstances are different than if you're importing those. So I can't make a generalization, but what I can say is those three factors. The more volatility, of course, you have in your income, the more important it is that you have a savings rate and you have that diversification of reserves and good savings, especially in this time. We are shifting the world. We moved from a world that was primarily resources were allocated on the basis of economic conditions and profitability. So that if it was economic to produce someplace, the capital would go there. And those who would earn the money would raise their living standards and so on. This is changing now. That now the political or the geopolitical is more important than the economic profit system in allocating resources. So for example, because that happened, we got Donald Trump becoming a populist because there was loss of jobs and so on. And those who want to fight for him are then exerting forces, whether it's protectionism or nationalism, that is having an effect. The fact that we have conflicts now between countries and the possibility of wars means that being self-sufficient for countries is more important than it was in the past, where we had a globalized economy where you would produce it and move it to the most efficient places. That's ending, not only because of the political aspects that I'm talking about for what it means in countries' incomes and so on, but also because of the need for self-sufficiency and the worries about foreign exchange controls or trade controls. For example, if you're producing in China, then there's the question, will that be sanctioned? Will you have the possibility, for example, that exports from China can be viewed like exports from Russia? And so companies that are producing there have these issues. So then they move or they operate in another way. So this is all very much less economic, less efficient in terms of the cost effectiveness. It contributes to a higher level of inflation, but it is part of this new world order. Internal conflict, and then even within that, the conflict issue, internal conflict and external conflict, will drive the resource allocation. So what you'll see even within countries, like within the United States, you are seeing movements from one state to another or one industry to another. So you're seeing this bifurcation. The reason people are moving from California to Texas or New York or Chicago to Florida has to do with the ideologies and the economics of that. Partially it's tax, but it's also partially ideological. People are now bidding for the ideological forces. For example, Elon Musk's buying Twitter is not entirely a commercial transaction. Whoever controls Twitter will probably have more impact on our society and its decisions than the Supreme Court.